Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Klondike Rush appears to be a game about mountain climbing. It is not. This game is all about auctions. When I see Klondike Rush with a mountain on the front, I never think about auctioning off, but it can still work. Sure, of course it can. But it's not about mountain climbing at all. It's all about having these bids and trying to maximize these bids. And this is one of those games I tried based on the designer of the game. Ryan Lauket is a very famed designer, some of the biggest and best and most popular games in the industry. And there's a reason why Klondike Rush is not one of those games. It's not a very good game. It's a solid game, I suppose. And if you're into auctions, maybe you like this better. But I could name a handful of auction games better than this, like modern art, or even some games that just have auction as part of the mechanisms and may not break up the entire game. And this game has downtime in it, and that's something I don't enjoy in a game very much. And there are turns where you can't or won't or unwilling or do not want to do anything, and that's not necessarily fun. When I'm not doing anything in a game, I can get bored a little bit. I think boredom is a good word for this game. This game can be super brutal. If you bid wrong or bid incorrectly or not in with the value of things, you are going to get decimated in this game. There isn't a catch-up mechanism in it. You are going to be out of it very early in the game, and there's no way for you to come back. The mechanisms and the theme, they kind of don't go together for me. It's not a good mesh. I can see what he was going for here about the mines and auctioning these things off and placing them out. But it has a cardinal sin of I just wasn't having fun with this one. It has a normal artwork that is brilliant and looks very, very good. The game comes from a good designer, so it's going to sell a little bit. But this is one I would probably tell you to stay away from. This is one you're only going to try out based on the name of the designer, perhaps the look of it. But I think you're going to be disappointed in what's inside the box. There weren't any decisions that I feel like were fantastic. Now, let me say this right off the bat. Auction games are kind of a lazy mechanism to me. It's like I couldn't create an economy, so I'm going to put an auction there. I'm not saying anything against Mr. Lauket. I'm just saying that in general, I'm not the biggest fan of auction games. I think there's unevenness at the table. If I played it a few more times, I kind of know the value of things a little bit more, and I can ice somebody out, or somebody who just wants to kind of play stupid or dumb a little bit. They can totally wipe out the economy and just make it off-centered, where it's not exactly a pleasing gaming experience. I'm not just saying that because they might win or they make a kingmaker. It's just not a very good, because the game isn't playing as it's intended to be playing. So for all those reasons, I feel like Klondike Rush was a huge miss for us. Not something I want to go back to or ever play again. It's a shame because it has a look that I find very enticing. Purge for us. Here is Klondike Rush, which is a Red Raven game by Ryan Lauket. They put his name right on the front because he has quite a bit of a following. We're going to get a rulebook and an errata sheet, which we'll look at in a few minutes. You're going to get a board, and this board will be pulled out, and it will trick you into thinking that you're about to play a game about climbing a mountain. You are not. The components in the game are pretty darn good. You're going to have some cards here and some little tokens that will come out. Everything is great quality. You're going to have these mines of the different color. These are like little miniatures, and they really didn't need to be for how simple of a game this is. But these are pretty cool little mines here that kind of come out. And maybe if you don't like this game, maybe you could pull that out for another one. You're going to get a Yeti miniature, which is the greatest component in the game. Everything is fine, very good. It's probably overproduced for what it is, but these things are fantastic. Everything works out great. First thing I should point out is the game comes with a sheet of errata here for some of the rules that are wrong in here. So thank you for doing that. Picture of the components. And really this is all you need. It's going to be one page of the rules. The rest of this is just different languages. This is all that you're going to have here in order to play the game. You probably need, 10 minutes to read through this. Setup is very easy. Very simple game to play. The rules are all here. I didn't really have any issues while playing. I'm going to give just a simple, quick overview. You're going to have a town center here with a mine of each color sitting. It's really on it, but there's not enough room. You can just sit it beside it, and they recommend putting it wherever you want, but in the center works out pretty good. Each round, you're going to flip over one of these mining cards, and they're going to have a bunch of these that you'll go through as the game is, and all the players will then auction this off. This is going to give you a certificate, a crate, and you can put a mine out. So you'll auction this off. The highest bidder will get it. And you can take a mine and put it on here. Then, after the mining, it doesn't matter who buys this, whether it's the active player or not,
And then if you're the active player, you can put your mines out on the board. This is what's going to happen. So you're going to put these out, and each of these locations at the beginning of the game are going to have these tiles that are on here, and they will have different icons, etc. on them, depending on what you may be looking for. So if you find out which icon you're kind of collecting, and you'll have ones based on these order cards that you'll have. So you can have like 2 of these. If you get 2 of these icons, these bear skins, you can turn them in for $7, or 3 will just be $5. So depending on what you're trying to get, maybe you'll put it here, and then you'll pay the cost all the way back to where the next color is. So this right here would be the cost of money that you would pay. Then you put the mine out, and you would take the chip in order to generate more money. Now everybody's going to start with one of these cards. You can utilize once per game as an order card. And what you'll do is every time that another mine comes out of a certain color to move up on this track, it'll be worth a certain amount of points. You can score this anytime you want, even at the end of the game, which is fine. But sometimes you need that cash infusion during the game in order to get that cash. You can play this anytime you want. Always score you more points at the end of the game, but you might need that cash during the game to score even more points. So each round, you're going to score one of these. Then whoever active player is, if they have any cards from this turn or previous turns that have mines on them, they're going to pay to put the mines out, grab the tokens, and to generate even more cash. And that's really a quick overview of how to play Klondike Rush.
Who should buy this game? I have a very difficult time recommending this game to anybody. First of all, you're going to have to not care so much about downtime. I think that's going to be it. 3 to 4 players is really the sweet spot. I would say more is better with this game. I think that's where it's going to shine, if it shines at all. Quite frankly, there are better auction games on the market, and I would steer you with them with my other reviews. This is one I would probably tell you to stay away from. But if you're a Ryan Lauket fan and you want all of his stuff, then you're forced to buy this dribble. Purge for me.